How we doing today?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Really?
I'm doing good.
Oh, man.
You know, dollar.
Yeah. Last night, Damian Lillard played like he was mad at somebody.
No, he always play like
You're
that.
welcome.
No,
You're welcome.
No,
Yeah.
You had nothing to do with it. Get that man in credit. Get that man in credit.
Did Skip just take credit for that performance?
You heard that too, Jenny?
You're welcome too.
My goodness. Thank you. How about we talk about what we saw from Dame last night? Damian Lillard said there wasn't anything he wanted more than to make the playoffs, and last night his game plan proved that. Lillard put the Blazers on his back, tying a career-high 61 points in a 134-131 win over the Mavericks. With the win, Lillard has pushed Portland into the A seed with one game left to play. Shannon, how impressive was Dame last night?
That was a virtuoso. That's what he's been about. Anytime you can get on a list with Wilt Chamberlain, you're in pretty good company because it's only he and Wilt on that list, Skip.
And what's the list?
Only two players to score at least 60 points
Three
different in a regular season. That's unbelievable. Skip, if Dame Lillard scores 40 points, they lose by 20. If he scores 50, they lose by 8 to 10. They needed every last one of his points. And yesterday, 18 of 18 from the foul line, 22 points in the fourth quarter, 3 threes. Even this is coming off the 51-point performance against the 76ers, although the 76ers was a little depleted. Skip, it was everything. I mean, I've never seen anything like it because it felt like a playoff-type atmosphere because if they lose this game, they no longer control their destiny. Someone else controls their fate. And Dame said from the very beginning he wanted something to play for. Give me an opportunity, okay? Adam Silver says, okay, if you're within four games of the ninth seed, of the 8th seed, you have a play-in game. Dame said, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to go get that 8th seed. And I'm going to have somebody come have to beat us twice in order to make the playoffs. Skip, this was everything. I mean, he was doing it off the bounce. He was getting to the rim. He was letting the three go. I mean, we know he has range. That last three, and then all of a sudden I was thinking to myself, I said, you know what? That's Jesus masquerading as Dame Lillard in Adidas.
Really?
That's what I thought to myself.
Oh,
Did you think that was?
It was a miracle.
That's like you thought that for yourself.
Right.
You're like, I like dollar.
Huh.
And then after the end
He
of the
raised the dead on that shot, right?
Skip, you got to admit. I mean, I text Steve, my chief research guy. I said he might go get that mythical 63. He's like, nah, I don't think he's gonna have the legs. I was upset. I got upset when they passed the ball to C.J. McCollum at the end. I want Dave to shoot those 2 free throws. Skip, but it was everything that they hoped for. And given that C.J. is nicked up, Skip, his back, he says he has an injury in his back, and he gave them 8 points. He was a minus 25.
Yep.
Basically, that game came down to 2 people. It came down to Dame Lillard and Carmelo. Carmelo even turned back the hands of time. But Dame Lillard was special. And, you know, in the NFL, Skip, you hear him holler, what time is it? It's game time. In Portland, when you ask them what time is it, it's Dame time. Dollar bill, y'all. Get on the board. Hey, Skip, just go ahead and say, you know what, Dame? I apologize. I'm sorry. Sometimes
Sorry for what?
Sorry. I doubted you, Thomas. Oh, doubting Thomas. You read that story in the Bible.
Okay, are you done?
I'm done.
Now, let's get to what really happened.
Okay, what really happened?
Thank you. I did tweet at the end of the game, great game, Dame, because for most of the game, almost all the game, he was all-time great. I've never seen such a shooting performance, and to your point, they needed every last point. He made 9 threes, some of them from Key West, and he made all 18 of his free throws, and I love that the most. That's what I respect the most because they are called free throws. Yeah. They are free to be made, and he made all 18, and they needed them because they got outshot from the three-point line 20-15.
Right.
Zinger is out there just zinging them. And again, from the free throw line, Dallas at least matched basically Damian, but it was tied at the free throw line.
Right.
So they needed all these points.
Right.
And to your point also, CJ, I don't know how bad, it's a non-displaced fracture.
Right.
I don't know, it's one of those micro fractures, but I'm sure it
painful.
It just
probably more annoying than
irritates
anything. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And he looked irritated last night because he shot 3 for 14 and scored a grand total of 8.
Right.
And usually he's 20-something, so you have a running mate.
Right.
Okay, so I give you all of the above. But I can't go virtuoso like you just went. I'm not going to gush quite the way you just did, because I'll give you this. For the first 46 and a half minutes, Damian Lillard was all-time sensational. But for the last minute and a half of that game, and I cannot tell a lie, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be objective, and I'm about to back it up, he was lucky and shaky, shaky and lucky. And can we start with 129 left, because he shoots a three, which he launches from 33 feet, which is basically from Cape Canaveral.
Yep.
And if we can see this, he launches it so far and so hard, it back irons so hard, it goes up 2 backboards high. I'm not going to call it quite as lucky as the Kawhi shot that ended Game 7 against Toronto last year. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I mean against Philly. From Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. In all my years of watching, covering basketball, dating back to the mid-1970s here for the LA Times, I have never seen a shot bound that high up off the rim and go through, because the margin for error as it plunges back to earth, it has to touch nothing, because if it touches any iron on either side, it's going to bound out because it's coming down so hard.
Correct.
There was nothing soft about the shot on its descent.
Right.
So it goes straight through, and that's a lucky shot that tied the game. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it tied the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So then we come down to the other end, and Porzingis gets called for an offensive foul, which I thought was an offensive foul. And Porzingis is gone from the game. And all of a sudden, a 7-foot, 3-inch rim protector is out. So to Damian's credit, he comes down and makes a nice, sweet little bounce pass, if we could see that, to Whiteside, who is uncovered at the rim because there's no unicorn. It's just wide open in the lane. That's about as easy a dunk, and it's a nice pass.
Right.
Saw the right, it's the right basketball play. So way to go. And that gives them, that gives Portland a 2-point lead. Then your man Luka comes down, misses the first free throw. I'm about to get to how that mattered in a minute.
Right.
Made the second one. And then here comes Dame Dollar down to make the money shot, if we could see that. This is the one that's going to clinch overtime. This is going to ensure a 3-point lead. And he goes up and he misses that one. So that was the money shot that would have at least clinched overtime. And here comes Dallas, down only 1.
Right.
And what did your man Luka do? He went LeBron James. He was afraid of the free throw line because he's a 75% free throw shooter, and he had just missed a big one. And he decides, I got to make the right basketball play, the right pass. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to kick it underneath to a Trey Burke cutting down the baseline.
Right.
Except Trey Burke was a little too far underneath the basket. And so he glances, Trey Burke does, and realizes Dorian Finney-Smith, who has already made 3 out of 5 threes, is wide open in the corner. Mr. Sharpe, why was he wide open in the corner? What happened to our man Damian at that point? Dame was lost. Dame was just sort of floating and had started to come into the lane to, I don't know, deal with Trey Burke.
Right.
And he left Dorian Finney-Smith wide open in the corner. And Trey Burke kicks it to him and then does a very weird thing. He veers to his right and decides, I guess at the last second, maybe I need to try to screen Dame a little bit.
Well, Skip, he had to veer to his right because if he'd have kept going straight, he'd have been right in the direct flight of the shooter.
Okay, I got it. But he said, I'm going to get out of his way.
Right.
But also, I think at the last split second, he thought, well, maybe I should at least try to shield Dame a little bit.
Right.
And instead, he made contact, fairly significant contact. But Rick Carlisle said immediately after the game that on their iPads sitting on the sideline, that as they reviewed the play, he said Dame flopped. He suggested that Dame deserved a fine for flopping. And yet the offensive foul call on Trey Burke cancels Dorian Finney-Smith. He nails it, man.
Right.
He nails it, and it's going to be, you're in trouble because you're going to be down 2 with 4.5 seconds left. Maybe Damian goes down and hits one. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see that. That would be the crucible of pressure. And Damian continues to tell me, hey, since I came into this league, I'm as clutch as any player in this league. So I wanted to see that, and I didn't get to, because even Vince Carter said on TNT after the game on Inside the NBA, he said you cannot make that call to decide the basketball game.
Was it a foul?
Yep. It was
you
a
make
foul.
that call then?
Okay, so it's close. It's a flop foul, but I'm going to go with you. I probably would have, so to speak, thrown that flag.
Right. I think the thing was, Skip, is because, like you said, he kicked the ball, and so he doesn't want to be in the line of his shooter. He tries to veer. I think he doesn't realize that Dame is that close to him. And so he veers because he's not looking. He kicks the ball, and he's kind of looking at Finney Smith.
Yep.
And he collides into him. And that's the problem, Skip, and that's what I say about officials. If it's a flag in the first quarter, you don't say, well, this team is down 20 points, and here we got 2 minutes left. I'm not going to throw the flag. If it's a foul, it's a foul. That was a foul. He ran him over.
The painful irony was there was no need to run him over.
True. I agree.
Dame was lost on the play.
Yes.
He was out of the play. He could not have gotten there.
No.
So it's a completely unnecessary attempted pick, screen, shield, whatever you want to call it, that turns into an offensive foul that loses the game.
That's different than the Dwight Howard, because Seth Curry could have gotten there and contested Danny Green's shot.
Well,
so
he could have, and Dwight grabbed his jersey.
But that was also foul. But that was different than that. I don't believe Dame could have recovered and got that and contested that shot.
Okay, so just to be fair and accurate here about everything you just said, virtuoso performance, it was until the last minute and a half in which Damian Lillard missed two big shots, I think, and one of them luckily went in. And he made one nice dish to a wide open Whiteside.
Right.
And then he would have been the quote unquote lowercase go to the game. He would have gotten some blame if he had left a shooter who had made 3 threes wide open in the corner to win the game.
Well, Skip, but here's the thing. He's coming to help. Skip, you can't dismiss, okay, let me deduct. Because he didn't swish a 35-foot three, let me deduct from that. Okay, because he was coming to help on Trey Burks, his guy, but that's just normal, Skip. Trey Burks looks like he has a wide open shot. I'm coming to help, and then my man gets an uncontested shot. Okay, so what was he supposed to do? That's what you do.
I wouldn't leave a shooter like Dorian.
So you gonna give Trey Burke a wide open 8-footer?
He was so far underneath. He was going away from the basket at full speed when he caught the pass. It was not delivered on time enough for him to turn and get a clear shot. He was going to have to turn in midair and shoot some sort of fadeaway baseline jumper, which might be as hard a shot to make as there is on the basketball court.
Skip, you do realize Dame in the fourth quarter was 4-7 from the floor.
He was extraordinary until the last.
3 of 5 from the three, and 11-11 from the free throw line for 22 points.
Yep.
You do. So 22 of their 36 that they scored, he scored them.
Okay.
And the reason, even if Porzingis had been in there was nothing Porzingis could have done with Whiteside. Because you know why? Because Dame had beat his guy off the dribble, and Kleber came to help. That's what you do. Guy gets beat, you come help, you have to have somebody rotate. They only have one other big in there. So if Kleber's in there, if Kleber's not in there, that means Porzingis is in there. Kleber's not. So it's not like they got two backline bigs. So guess what? It's
I think both of them would have been in because Trey Burke came in for Porzingis when he fouled out, but whatever.
Skip, this is it. I mean, you can't find fault with this one. There might have been times you want to
just did.
No, you didn't. You can't. Skip.
You should.
You nitpicking.
I'm not nitpicking. Those are big misses. Did he not miss the three? You said it was lucky.
Skip.
Was it lucky?
No, Skip.
No, just be honest.
That's
be
a
honest.
shooter. He's a shooter. He gets bounced like that. I mean,
I don't see many shooters bounces like that one.
How you think he got the name Logo Lillard? Because he can launch it from there and he can make it from there more times than not.
Okay, but those go in the basket. They don't bounce off the back.
So you deducting points because he didn't swish it.
No, he really didn't make it. He shot it too long and it lucked in.
I could have sworn that ball went in the basket.
Is that not luck? I want to put you on the hot spot.
What?
Luck or not?
Luck is what happened when preparation meets
opportunity.
opportunity.
Okay. Is it lucky?
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
Skip.
so he aimed at the back iron?
You skip.
Did he aim at the back iron? He drilled it off the back iron.
Skip, that happened, in sports, in a situation like this. Now, you didn't say any of the shots that somebody else made in 86 when he hit for his 63. You didn't say nothing about
We're not talking about him. And let's not put Damian Lillard in the same breath with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Let's not. Who you want, Jordan or Damian Lillard? Help me out.
Skip.
Who you want?
Skip. I'm saying the performance. We're talking about one game in that game. You nitpicking about a guy.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
If we sent Damian back out after the game and we gave him 1,000 basketballs just to keep shooting basketballs, trying to recreate that same shot, how many do you think it would take to recreate that shot?
let me ask you a question.
He could maybe shoot a billion shots and not pull that one off again.
I guarantee you give Dame 20 shots from that same location, he'll make 2 to 3 of them.
Okay, good.
Okay, so he made it.
Could he do it with a minute and a half left?
Yes.
That's my issue. What happens down the stretch?
He did it.
What happened down the stretch of the Boston game early in the bubble that they lost? Go look it up. Go look. They're up 1 with 2 minutes left, and tell me what Damian does down the stretch the last 2 minutes. Tell me what Damian did the last 2 minutes versus the Clippers without Kawhi and Paul George. Go look it up and tell me what he did. That's my only issue.
Okay.
Because he tells me I'm as clutch as anybody in this league, and I just told him, show me, and shut me up.
He just showed you.
Did he close it?
Yes! 61?
Did he close the deal, Shannon? I just showed you what happened in the last minute and a half.
No.
I'm not moving the goalposts. The goalposts are right there at the 2 minute mark. There are 2 minutes.
So only the 2 minutes matter.
Well, the last 2 minutes were pretty important in a basketball game when you're down.
Hold on. But see, this is what you do, Skip. When LeBron James missed the ball, got it back in there, you said that was lucky. See, you keep doing that.
What are you talking
when
about?
When LeBron James in the bubble, when they first played the Clippers, the last second shot.
Yeah, it came right back to him.
You see?
He shot it so short, it came right back to him. Even you said, oh, yeah, that was a little lucky.
Skip.
Look what I found.
Skip. The man.
Call them like you see them.
I did.
You called it virtuoso, and
Yes.
it wasn't finished. He did not finish virtuoso.
Hold on.
But the odds were, the 1,000,000,000 odds were that shot that he shoots from the logo
But it went
misses.
in.
Okay, so is it fair to say that's lucky? You better believe it was lucky.
So
did he have a little bit of a shaky close because then he lost his shooter at the end? Yes.
So only Dame Lillard is the only guy in NBA history to have gotten a lucky carom at some point in time.
No, obviously not. But he did last night.
He got so one.
Okay, if that misses, you're down 3 with 1:25 left. I don't know.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. He didn't miss. At some point in time...
Is it a little lucky that Porzingis got a shaky foul, like a controversial offensive foul call that they challenged and lost? Is that a little bit of advantageous situation?
Skip,
Yes.
what about Nurkic? Nurkic fouled out with 6 points. And C.J. McCollum, he was 2 of 14, had 8 points. He was minus 25. So Dame Lillard had to take on this excessive load. The man played 41 minutes. He's averaging 41.
I told you. I gave you down to the 130 mark. All-time sensational.
You see what you do, Skip?
No, I'm not doing anything. I'm completing the game over what happened in the last minute and a half, and you refuse to accept it.
Skip.
You're overlooking because you want to cheer against me because I'm having a beef with Dame. That's what you're trying to do, and it's not working because I just showed you the video of what happened in the end. So if you want to overlook it, go ahead. I don't care.
So in other words, only the last minute 30. So nothing else he did up until that point matters.
I just told you it was all-time sensational. How many times do I have to repeat that? But a basketball game goes actually 48 minutes. So if Dame wants to change his number from 0 to 46, I'll give him that. He's Mr. 46. In the bubble, he's been Mr. 46 against Boston, Clippers, last night against Dallas. Mr. 46.
Skip. Okay, so if you lose 2 games, nothing else matters. I don't get where you're going with this. The man scored 61. He's 17 of 32. He's 9 of 17 from the 3. He's 18 of 18. And now what you do, and you always do this, you cherry pick. Skip, I can go back through the history of time, and if I want to find a situation where Jordan turned the ball over, Jordan missed a shot, Bird did this, but that's not how you evaluate the game, and you know it.
Oh, no, I don't know it. I covered a whole lot of Michael Jordan games, and he almost always made the play that won the game. Somehow he'd make a stop, he'd block a shot, he'd make a steal on Karl Malone, and go down and hold the pose on Brian Russell. He did it again and again and again. I've never seen anything like it.
I have.
He was the most I ever trusted anybody in the last 2 minutes of any game I've ever watched. I wanted the ball in or around him.
Well, Skip, I'm sure Portland wants the ball in Dame's hand the last 2 minutes in or around him.
Okay.
He's either going to make the right play by shooting it, a 3, or getting into the paint, or he's going to dish it off. But to say after a virtuoso performance, so in other words, if Pavarotti had stumbled while coming on the stage, you go like, that ain't a virtuoso because you stumbled on the way to the stage. You can't do that.
That's before tip-off. Well, it is. If he forgot the words in the last 2 minutes.
No, I said he stumbled coming on stage. No.
Okay.
No,
well, if he forgot the words at the end of his performance, I'd say, gee, I don't know if that was a virtuoso.
Skip.
If he needed to say, line, I need a line.
No, he doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Dame didn't say this. Dame said, CJ, you hurt? I got you. Nurkic, you in foul trouble? I got you. Gary Trent Jr., you coming back to earth from the three-point line? I got you. He carried it, Skip. You know, if he scores 40, they lose by 20. They needed every 61. And because
if he doesn't get a lucky bounce, they probably lose the game. Wouldn't you agree?
So, Skip, there's a lot of luck that happens. You remember when Tom Brady got that? That should have been an interception, the one he threw to Edelman. But you didn't say anything about luck. You say that's Tom Brady being Tom Brady. And that is the reason, Skip, you can't do that. You see, you make every excuse why Dame isn't clutch. Dame is big-time dollar. He was big-time. He was everything. 51 back to 51 and now 61. His third 60-point game of the season. And you said, well, he got a lucky bounce. He missed one shot, so that ain't it.
He missed 2 shots down the stretch in the last 2 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
And he lost his man.
He's human.
Okay.
But he made up for it. He drew the charge.
Virtuoso, says Shannon.
He drew the charge. Guess what he did, Skip? He lost his man, drew the charge, that nullified a 3. There you go.
He didn't draw the charge. He got the charge, dropped into his lap. You know it, and I know it.
What you mean?
Did he jump in the way of Trey Burke? No. Trey Burke almost sought him out. He was going to try to screen him and ran into him.
Skip, Dame could have moved out of the
Dame's
way.
just like in the wrong place at the right time. It's one of those nights where everything is working,
Okay.
and you're right. It's Jesus-like. It's a miracle. I told you. He raised the shot from the dead, and then he got the greatest break you can ever get because the 3 that probably wins the game gets canceled because of an unnecessary offensive foul.
I'm not
virtuoso.
I'm not betting against Dame that he doesn't get an opportunity to get a shot off and get a good look at a 3-point shot. But Skip, you said
Wanted to see it.
You said he had it going last night, and then you find he missed 2 shots, and then he did this. Skip,
It happened. I'm just saying what I just sit here every day and I say what I see, and I just showed you the video.
But see, that's the thing, though, Skip. You see that on a guy that you want to confirm and validate isn't clutch. But other guys
I told him, show me, shut me up. Wasn't clutch last year in the conference finals. In our next topic, I'm going to get deep into that. Wasn't clutch against Boston. Wasn't clutch against Clippers in the bubble. And at the end last night, didn't come up as big as I thought he would.
So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So every time a clutch situation presents itself, every all-time great has succeeded. Is that what you're telling me?
No, but more often than not, they do. And I'm seeing a consistent pattern here that
Skip.
I don't love.
No, they don't, Skip. Larry Bird had an opportunity to hit a 3-point shot against the Lakers. Didn't go in.
I'll take Larry Bird any day or night with the ball in his hands with 5 seconds
I'm
left.
taking Dame Lillard any time of the day. There are certain players that you're going to take, Skip, but you can't dismiss 61. And because he missed the shot.
I don't dismiss 61.
Yes, you did.
I did not. I told you they needed every last point.
But you cherry pick. And
I didn't cherry pick. It's happened. It's the crucial part of the game. It's where you win and lose the game.
And at the end of the day, it comes down to what? Wins and losses. Because in that 63-point performance, your guy lost. And you applauded. You heap praise as adulation. My guy won.
Nobody cared. He was coming off a broken leg with a bad team.
Again.
We had a bad team. This guy's got a really good team.
Hold on, Skip. Were they in the playoffs? So bad teams make the playoffs, all right? Oh, so you finally admit. So why were they bad if the GOAT's on the team? How can you have a bad team if a GOAT's on it?
Because he was a baby goat with a broken leg.
Baby,
Well, he missed the whole year with the broken leg. He had. He came back early. He shouldn't have come back, and he came back and played the playoffs.
Okay, he got swept. And guess what happened the next year, Skip?
That team he was playing is one of the top 5 teams in the history of this league. You know it, and I know it. They were on their way to winning the championship.
One of the top 5 teams. So you could also say that about the 2018 and the 2019 Golden State Warriors, one of the top teams. And they swept LeBron, and you say if LeBron is what you said he is, he should have won at least one game. If Michael Jordan was what
you told me he's the GOAT. The GOAT?
You just said Michael Jordan was the GOAT and got swept twice in back-to-back years.
He was, 23 and 24?
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, well, you know it. So you got to change the subject when I got you on this guy.
No.
We're talking about Damian Lillard, not Michael Jordan here.
And Damian Lillard is playing like he wants some respect.
You know what? Now it's Dame time.
Look at that, my AP. It's about that time.
Yeah.
Get him, dollar. Get up, Dollar.
Just throwing in the watch. He wants the respect. He said Thursday
You heard me
against
say
the
it.
Nets, the most important game of their lives.
Drop
We will
$70.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.